Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This was a kind of spur of the moment thing, and I figured tonight it would probably wind up getting more play after the fact than during, so that's okay. One thing I'm doing right now is I'm setting my power level on the Crossfire down a little bit, because when I leave it running and I leave it at the full 1 watt, I can hear it in my headphones. I just had to turn it down a little bit. Anyway, if you're not familiar with what the Digidapter is, it is when you're running the digital goggles and you're not going to make the move completely 100% to digital and you're still going to use analog, you have two choices. You can either carry a second pair of goggles around, or you can add analog capability to the digital goggles. And I've come to the conclusion that I think analog will be with me for some time to come. So I thought it was okay to make a little investment in adding analog capabilities to these goggles, so I didn't have to carry around a set of sky zones and another battery and another set of antennas and that whole mess. So that's where I am, and tonight I'm just going to do a quick little install. From what I can tell, this thing takes like no time at all. And yeah, so Robert, first in, how's it going, buddy? Drone Pilot made it. And Drone Pilot, you're running this setup. Yeah, we talked about this, I think, in Discord. So the TBS Fusion, I've already opened this, and it came with a couple of little ribbon cables, and I'm sure they don't have anything to do with the DJI goggles. There we go. Couldn't get my hands on them. Here are the two little ribbon cables that they came with. I think these are for a different style of goggles, maybe like Fat Sharks, but I'm not sure. No, I'm not going to be using those. It also came with this little board. And it has a ribbon clamp for that ribbon cable that I was talking about right there. So I'm not sure what that's for. It says Fat Shark external power. Okay. So we'll just set that aside because we're not going to use that. And then here's the Fusion module itself. Now there's a lot of options for receivers, and the reason I went with Fusion is because of the promise of what they have coming for this. They plan on doing some integration work that will connect the communication abilities of the module, if you're running Crossfire on your craft, that will allow the two to talk. So you can do things like change your VTX channel from your module or from your goggles. And then I also understand there's a technology they're working on that will, if you do change the channel on this one, it'll change the channel on the other one automatically, so they'll follow. But anyway, because I am invested in Crossfire, I decided to go ahead and stick with the Crossfire module just to, see where they go with it and see how it develops over time. So that's what I'll be using. Rapid Fire is the other big one. That's obviously, Rapid Fire is very popular. And there's the cover. And then there's a 90-degree adapter that they also include in the case, but I don't really think I need that. I'll set it aside just in case. So that's the VTX that I'll be using, and that will go in the Digidapter. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Here's the star of the show. This is the Digidapter, and the thing that's nice about this is that it's basically a plug-and-play option where you don't really have to make any permanent modifications to this. So you can restore this back to its factory configuration without soldering or cutting into it or doing anything that might damage your warranty. That's the main reason. And so this is just a screw-on affair. And on the inside, you can see it's got some circuit boards that will allow the one side to talk to the other. And so it's the left eye that gets the module. And then there's a ribbon cable connecting to the right eye. And that's where the plugs go for power and AV in and out. It looks like, there's audio and video, it says. Okay. And I also know there's some solder pads there. If you want to make it a more permanent thing, you can solder the wires inside if you want to, if you choose to do that. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to install this with the screw-in arrangement. And I figured, I didn't know if Vance was going to pop in or not, but I figured I'd beat him to the punch. So just to get an idea of what we're going to add in terms of weight to the goggles. So we're going to add the video, and we're zeroed out. Whoops, let me move that up so you can see it. Okay, well, I was zeroed out. I have something touching. Oh. All right, we'll just re-zero. Okay, we're zeroed out. There's the VTX module itself, 29 grams with the cover. Here is the Digidapter. And a couple of extra wires that you need to make that work. So it looks like we add about 123 grams of weight. And then, oh, the antennas, can't forget those. So we'll call it 160 grams of weight on top of the already existing arrangement. And that's not exactly true because this comes off too, so we subtract that, but somewhere around 160 grams, give or take. That's what we're looking at. Now the expectation, of course, is that this makes things more convenient. The idea is that you want to not have to carry a second set of goggles. And so far, that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been carrying 2 sets of goggles, these and my Sky Zones. And then with the Sky Zones, I also carry the immersion power play because I don't have a DVR in my goggles, my analog goggles. So it's extra. It's not that big of a deal, but it is extra. Okay. So regarding screws, they do give you the extra screws that you need in the bag. They're just a little bit longer, so they're there. I'll go ahead and pop these out. We'll lay the new adapter on top, just like that. This is a nice option because it almost, you know, if you didn't know any better, you would think that it was part of the system, right? Probably. You do look like a cyborg with these things, though. No doubt about that, man. It's starting to get a little robotic looking. There we go. So, yeah, that's called a super easy install. The other thing that I think I like about this arrangement, too, is I don't think I have to change my case. I think my case will still work. The only thing I'll have to do is just take the analog antennas off the receiver. So that's that, and we'll set that aside and we'll just get the wiring out. And the way the wiring works is it's a Y cable, so you can use the same power plug. Now, I had strain relief. I removed it for the video, so I'll have to work on that and see how I'm going to arrange strain relief going forward. I will put strain relief on there, but so there's a 90-degree power cable coming off the battery. That's off the battery in the back. And then we also have power now to the goggles and the BDI adapter. So both of those are pretty self-explanatory. That's not hard to figure out. This is a straight out plug instead of a 90-degree plug. I've heard about that. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. No point in griping about it. It would have been nice if they kept that a 90-degree plug. And then the other cable you have to add is video, and I didn't look at the thing. Is it the top one? Who knows? Drone Pilot. I think it's like that. And then the other gripe, of course, is that they didn't give you any cable management at all. So it would have been nice if to kind of dress this up a little bit, if they would have given some form of cable management. I mean, it couldn't be that hard to maybe come off that screw. That's probably what I'll do. I'll probably 3D print something and just do some cable management, some zip ties or Velcro. And then I really don't like this. To me, that's not cool. So I'll figure something out where I'll do some cable management to tidy that up and make that nice and secure. But there we go. That's that installed. And then as far as the module, the VTX, that just pops into place. So I'll stick that in there and remove the protective cover. And then we'll just set this guy. You know what? Before I do anything, I want to make sure it works. So I've seen plenty of videos where people power these on without the antennas, and I just never really thought very much of that. So I'm just going to put my antennas on, so bear with me. Whether or not it's strictly necessary is unknown to me, but if there's ever any bidirectional for any reason and you don't have your antennas on, you can cause problems. So I know that's normally the transmitter, but what the heck. Okay. So that's that, and that should be it. We should be able to power this thing up, and let's just see if it works. So I'm just going to hit the battery real quick and get the DJI battery going. Oh, there we go. TBS Fusion. Yeah, little cyborgy, isn't it? Okay, let's see. I'm pretty sure I have a quadcopter set up on the side, and I'm going to go ahead and activate well, maybe. A, A7, A3. I think I have it on A3. So 5825, but I'll tell you what, I've got a monitor set up just in case. So we can do an auto search. All right, let me plug the quad in so we can get a camera going. And then we'll just take a look. On the inside of the goggles, we have to switch to AV, to AV input. Let me set that aside so you guys can see it. That's kind of a cool looking screen, isn't it? A little high tech. We'll just turn this on and look. There we go. Okay, yeah, it is A3. Okay, so that's the quad. That's on A3. And that says A3. Well, it should work. Let's take a look. You have to hit the menu button and go under settings and set it to AV in. Yeah, pretty simple. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it or not, but I think you can probably see something in there. Man, that's a pretty simple upgrade. And then if you want to record, you simply hit the record button on your goggles, and as long as you have an SD card in there. Again, I know that's going to be pretty blurry, but that's definitely coming off the quad. So you can see I moved the quad around. I know that's really kind of sucky, but the best I can do. I don't know how. I know there's some guys who have a way where they've been able to show the inside of those goggles. I'm not sure how they do that. There you go. So I'm moving the quad up and down. You can see it in there. So that's it. That's the upgrade. Man, that's kind of like ridiculously easy, isn't it? All right. We'll set this aside. And I'm going to turn the goggles off. And I just want to put the cover on the module. And that's one other gripe that I know some people have about these things, is that there's no simple way to turn off the analog unit if you're not using it. So if you're going to be flying with just digital, there's no simple way to do it. I guess you can just unplug it from the front if that's a thing. But again, cable management, that starts to become an issue, right? All right. I'm going to take these off, and now I want to put my cover on because I really kind of want to get that secure. You don't want this flopping around in there too much. So the trick now will just be to pop the cover on, and I'll give you a little warning about this. There's a couple of notches right here, and those notches line up inside the BDI Digidapter. So that's the main thing. Just make sure they're lined up. So make sure the module's seated all the way down. Make sure everything's lined up, and we'll just try and pop it in there. I can't imagine this would be a lot of fun to take this cover off either, by the way. All right, what I'm looking for is I just want to make sure that that joystick is covered correctly. There we go. All right, so the module cover is on, and just gonna check the screen real quick. Pop that on real quick just to make sure the screen looks okay, and it does. And back off again. Okay, so there we go. I'll put the antennas back on just to give you what it looks like final, and then I'm not going to bother with it tonight, but I will do some form of cable management. If you guys have any tips on cable management for this, let me know. Definitely cable management's a thing that I will take care of. I don't like having cables flop around on goggles like this. I'm just not a fan of it. It gets caught up in stuff right when you least need it to be caught up on stuff. So, uh-oh, that may have to go on top. Yeah, my patch antenna seems like it's bumping a little bit. They need some kind of extension, but Yeah, that's not looking great. I don't like that. That should be standing more straight up. Anyway, there you go. That's the that is the BDI Digidapter install with the TBS Fusion. And yeah, that's another thing. Obviously, with this on, it kind of covers the entire screen. I'll have to fiddle with that. That might need some form of extension. But anyway, yeah, there it goes. Let me check the comments, see what's going on there, and then we'll wrap this up. So let's see. Yep, non-voiding warranty, and it's neat. Yeah, it is tidy. That's the thing I like about it. It's very tidy arrangement, and I can easily revert that. I mean, literally 2 screws, unplug it, pop my other cover back in, and no one knows what I've done to it. Do you have your calipers? What's the exact thickness in millimeters, Robert? Yeah, come on, man. You guys are killing me. I'm not falling for that. Just strain relief with the cable ties you mentioned. It's all good, but I did go through a cable. Yeah, I like things to be tidy. I had this one printed, and that was on the side for my initial runs, and it did a great job, man. That thing was right here, and it just clamped the cable down. I'll figure something out. I like it to be neat. Let's see. The wait, John, you'll see the latency. It's huge. I think 3 milliseconds. Yeah, that's pretty funny, Drone Pilot. Yeah, there's a lot of discussions about things like that out there on the interweb when it comes to latency. I don't worry so much about a few milliseconds. I'm just not that good that it matters. So when it comes to latency, now I know early on there was a real problem, but nah, I think they've got that resolved. You also get the OSD on. Yeah, the OSD, that's cool for analog, no question about it. You get a nice little analog feed for your on-screen display for quads that support it, and you get that in your recorder now, which is really cool. Let's see. And you can't be an old version of firmware because it won't work for AVN. I think June last year was the version that fixed the issue. Yeah, that's what I've heard. And I just recently did the firmware upgrade when I activated these and to the V2s. So Drone Pilot says Bardwell cracked his LCD. Yeah, I heard about that. That's one of the reasons I was being a little cautious to make sure I was paying very close attention to what I was doing. And yeah, as far as the joystick goes, I do have, oh, no, that is a little, there we go. There we go. It just had to be slid over just a little bit, but the joystick, I've got all 4 directions, no problem with that. All right. Just dropped in before I had to work, 16 watching, only 3. David Knutz, how you doing, buddy? Glad you could make it. Yeah, if you guys could hit the like button, that'd be awesome. John, I used an extension. You just said it. All right. Yeah, I used another elbow and it tucks into the gap between the 2 eyepieces, so to speak. Yeah, I think that's what I need to do is just get an extension on there. I've got extensions. I hate using stuff like that. I don't like adding connections if I can avoid it, but clearly it's needed. It's either going to be needed on the Omni or the patch, one of the two, because that layout's not working out. All right, guys. Well, that's it. That's the BDI Digidapter, and now I have the ability to get rid of the Sky Zones, my trusty old Sky Zones, man. They're going to be retired. They're going to get set aside. The one downside to this entire thing is that immersion power play. I really like that thing a lot, and that's going to be retired as well. So I'll have to figure out something to do. I'm thinking my son will probably get some benefit out of those two. He'll wear the Sky Zones with the power play and be able to record his stuff. So that's kind of the game plan at this point. So, yep. Thanks for the install. You're welcome. Glad to do it. Hopefully it's been helpful. I know I'm a little late to the party with this one. I know there's a lot of other material out there, but some people like the way I present things. So if you like this kind of video, I appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, give a thumbs up, hit the notification bell so you know new material hits the channel. And that's all I've got for tonight. Drone Pilot says I retired my Fat Sharks after installing it. Yeah. I think that's the end of the road for my Sky Zones for me, as long as this works, and I'm sure it will. I've read and seen enough to know that as a video receiver at 5.8, it does just fine. So, all right, guys, that's it. Short and sweet video tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. That's all I've got for tonight. Take it easy.